turn 12 there in Melbourne. Let's update the 4th Brisbane, 1 Northern Rip.
Day, Memsie Stakes Day yesterday in the Chelmsford. I say a full field because Lee Freedman joins Keith Hillier and Max Presnell. Full in the nicest terms. How are you, Keith?
I'm well, thanks, Bruce. There was a scratching from Memsie Stakes Day, though, yesterday. Simon Marshall took a tumble in the sauna before the meeting started. Simon's an accident waiting, or looking for somewhere to happen. He's hurt himself with a lawnmower, fallen down the stairs, and yesterday, not even funny, quite a serious injury, and it's touch and go whether he'll be fit to ride Barishnikov next week in the Memsie Stakes. He's got very severe bruising.
So that's the latest with him. And just before we go to Max, the other late scratching yesterday was, I say late in the morning, taken out Northwood Plume, the horse trained by Richard Freedman, who won 3 Group 1 races, unable to run in the Memsie Stakes. Lee, I know in your situation you can't talk specifically about this particular incident, but in the overall picture, a horse at this stage, early September, missing a race, is that a major setback in terms of the Caulfield Cup?
Well, Bruce, you know, all those things are a setback. I think specifically in her case, the races are all going to go to 1600, you know, the weight for age races over the next couple of weeks, so it's going to make it that little bit more difficult.
Yeah, not what you really want at this stage of her preparation. Max, welcome. I wasn't leaving you out forever. How are you?
Sour and embittered.
About what, Max?
The state of the track at Randwick yesterday. As you'd be aware, we've been going through a drought, something like 44 days without rain. The first good shower we have in Sydney, and we've got a rain-affected track, a slow track at Randwick, and a very biased service. Apart from Buzz Off, who's a very promising horse in the first, every other winner was handy to the leaders on the turn, and you just had to be up there, and that is not the sort of conditions I expect Randwick for a big day like Chelmsford Stakes Day. In fact, I would say there'd be better conditions at Birdsville.
Fair enough, Max. Well, let's start this program with the Memsie Stakes then. We'll take the call of the Memsie and we'll look at the main runs afterwards. We've got an interview with Peter Hayes, and he did a very good job, Peter Hayes. 1, 2 and 3.
It gets in there with him. They're off and running now. Boart on the inside, bounce quickly. Doremus dropping back to last with Pindy after the jump away and going out fast. Island Morn around the outside. Hurricane Sky is up second. Around him goes Sir Boom, and further out Station Head. Settling down now, Island Morn out by a length and a half. The pace fairly good. Second is Sir Boom, 2 to Hurricane Sky. Third now on the outside of him, Station Hand. Fourth, 2 to Dana Singer. Boart the fence, a length and a half for the back. Shaskay on the outside of it would have been Doremus. Then further back was Pindy, and Blevickers at the tail of the field. Down the side, they slow up Island Morn a length in front of Sir Boom. Hurricane Sky at the 800, third on the inside there of Station Hand. Fourth, 2 to Dana Singer, fifth. Over on the inside, Boart, and 3 further back in the race then came Shaskay, and further back in the field then at the head of the others, Blevick to the rail. Well back in the event then, Pindy back at the tail. Up before the turn, they race 5.50 out. The leader, Island Morn, a neck in front now. From on the outside second is Sir Boom. Niggled at us, Hurricane Sky. Around it, Station Hand travels well. Then Dana Singer. Hurricane Sky is under the whip. And around the turn now, it's Sir Boom after Island Morn. Station Hand further out, followed by Hurricane Sky and Dana Singer. Island Morn the leader, Station Hand down the centre of the track. Hurricane Sky under enormous pressure from Sir Boom, but the leader still Island Morn, 100 to go. He's pinched the race, this fellow Island Morn, holding the stablemate Station Hand at bay. Then Blevick and Sir Boom, but Island Morn all the way wins 2.5 Station Hand. A photo third, Blevick or Sir Boom.
Keith, to start, where do we look from there for the bigger race, even bigger races?
Well, firstly, let's congratulate Peter Hayes, the trifecta in that race. We still can't think of another weight for age race where a trainer's trifected it. Well done, Peter. We forget Hurricane Sky for the spring. I don't think he likes the spring. He's an autumn horse. He didn't sweat up before the race yesterday, which is normal for him. But the punter sweated after the race. He was a ridiculously short price favourite. Blevick, great Caulfield Cup trial. He's the horse to beat in the Caulfield Cup. Dana Singer let me down yesterday. I was expecting a lot from Dana Singer.
Lee, what about the 3 that the Freedman camp settled up yesterday?
Well, looking at it from the stands, I'd say Dana Singer, as Keith said, was disappointing. I don't know, you know, I won't be back in the chair till Saturday, but I'll be very interested to see the horse and see if there's anything amiss. But I think it's just one of those runs you've got to probably forget about because he's been such an ultra-consistent horse.
Doremus?
Doremus, I thought, was a really good run. It wasn't suited by weight for age. He's essentially a handicapper and got home really well, and I think he'd be better suited at a place like at Flemington. And the other horse, well, once again, I've got to actually see him and get a feel for him, you know.
Yep.
Hurricane Sky cast a plate, but no excuse, really.
Max?
I thought the run of the race was undoubtedly Blevick. I'd question the tempo of the race. Was it a really genuine 1400-metre race? I was bitterly disappointed with Dana Singer. Lee, you're going to have to wave your magic wand over him or he's going to give you a lot of trouble for the spring. But Blevick, the conditions were against Blevick, the tempo seemed to be against Blevick, but there he was at the finish. I'd say next time Blevick.
OK, well, Craig Willis was at Caulfield yesterday, spoke to Peter Hayes about the trifecta and Island Morn.
We thought that this track today, with the false rail out and him being a horse that can lead, we thought that he would be always very competitive in the race. I must say I was very impressed with him. I didn't think he was quite as good as he's turned out to be. It was a very good run.
What's next on the agenda, in your opinion? Perhaps Sydney?
If he does well, we'll take him up to Sydney and run him in the George Main and then possibly the Epsom.
Further down the track, maybe a Cox Plate contender?
Possibly, yes. I mean, he's a very tough, sound horse. He's won at 1800 metres in Perth. It's a possibility.
Peter Hayes there with Craig Willis. Let's go to the McNeil quality, where Gold Ace was very impressive. And, gee, there was another run in the race too, wasn't it, by the runner-up? They both changed the complexion, Sykes and Gold Ace. Keith Frosty, the Snowman, went very hard with Street Talk, the two speed horses. Gold Ace probably looked 50 to 1 on the turn, and Sykes was 150 to 1 on the turn.
Yes, the speed runners did set it up for the swoopers. Damien Oliver rode so well yesterday. He wins this race and he won the last as well. Two perfect rides. Lee, Gold Ace is one of the team that you'll be taking over. Is it next Saturday or
next
after
Saturday,
that?
Yeah. We've always had a great opinion of this horse. We thought he was our golden slipper horse back in the early part of the year. He was placed in a Magic Million. He had a few problems. He had knee surgery to get chips removed and that. So he's a very, very nice racehorse, and I think he's right on track, hopefully, to be a Guineas horse for me later on.
Well, you're saddling them up Saturday. It's the Ascot Vale Saturday, isn't it? Is he running in the Ascot Vale?
Well, I think Richard's intention is to... Yeah, I think,
to nominate him?
I think so.
Oh, Richard mustn't have watched our Maze K yesterday.
Well, our Maze K, you know, we've gone over his form here before. I think he's probably the best sprinting three-year-old in the country. But you've got to take him on, and I guess, you know, the straight, he's got to come down here, adapt.
Well, we'll have a look at our Maze K. He won again very handily yesterday. Max, do you think Octagonal was inconvenienced at all by the conditions?
Oh, Octagonal was inconvenienced by the conditions and the tempo of the race. More than
point them out to us, Max. Our Maze K's in front. Is that Octagonal second last?
He can't go any slower. Octagonal is in the pink colours, second last, and that's Donor running last with a white cap. Keep your eye on him. But they ran their first 600 in about 37. Now, you're not going to give our Mace K a start under these conditions and beat him. He's a very, very good colt, and this was just a presentation, as you'll see. Look, Brian York, he said, well, where's the opposition going to come from? Cooksley's fired up Octagonal now. He's got a go coming up the rise, but York's still sitting motionless on our Mace K. And no Donor putting in the long ones down the outside. Now York says, come on, son, let's see what you got. And he just shows them a clean pair of heels. A very good racehorse, our Mace K. Octagonal, a good horse too. And just no Donor on the outside picking them up. A real Derby candidate.
Lee, what about a horse first up out the straight 1200 at Flemington? It's sometimes not easy, is it? You can get a bit lost there.
Yeah, that's true. But look, this is a real racehorse. You know, if I had him, I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Okay. Max, you've got a good eye for a horse. Octagonal, do you think he's developed? Because he's the horse that I think a lot of us are, aren't we, Keith? We're talking about him maybe going on to be a Group 1 winner at 1600 and maybe even longer.
Last Thursday night he was voted the 2-year-old of last season, and some say he'll be the best this spring.
Is he developed, Max, physically?
Yes, he looked good yesterday. He looked trained up yesterday. He looked good. You've got to take the bias of the track into consideration, the tactics of the race into consideration. His run was good. I'm still not carried away with his Cox Plate potential, but I'm not wiping him either. He's a good racehorse. He did just about what he had to do yesterday, but nothing more. The third horse caught my eye more because I think he had more scope for improvement.
I reckon for 3-year-olds to win the Cox Plate, one of two things have got to happen. They've either got to be absolute champions like Red Anchor was, or the opposition's got to be pretty poor. And I think we're going to have a fairly good year. The Chelmsford, let's have a look and see how Oppressor wins.
Going forward on the outside firstly is Kinnerita, trying to punch up momentarily on the inside with Silk Ali, but just got off the fence back towards the tail in company with Seascape. They make the turn round to the High Street side of the track and they approach that 900-metre mark, and Stony Bay is highballing it in front. Stony Bay by about 4 or 5 lengths. Oppressor is running second. Fewer Chosen, and on the inside, Joie Denise next. A short gap in the field behind these Star Dancer racing in company with Silk Ali. Seascape is back towards the tail second last, and Kinnerita is way out of its ground about 5 lengths away at the tail. About 550 to travel as they come to the turn, and Stony Bay is the leader. Leads by a couple of lengths. Oppressor is running second, giving chase. Joie Denise behind those. Then Silk Ali, Star Dancer on the outside, then Seascape followed by Fewer Chosen, and forget about Kinnerita. They come to the cutaway rail over the top of the rise, and Stony Bay is still the pilot, but here comes Oppressor. Oppressor's quickly ranged up on the outside and poked the head in front. Stony Bay fights back, but Oppressor's got the better of Stony Bay. Running into on the outside is Joie Denise and also Seascape, but it's Oppressor in front, and Oppressor is drawing well clear, and Oppressor has raced away in a most impressive win, wins the Chelmsford. Oppressor first, Joie Denise second, then Stony Bay.
Max, almost out of time, but Lee raced that horse similar to you. He said he's an old marvel.
Yes, he certainly is. But just a Melbourne Cup run, Joie Denise, a top-class Melbourne Cup performance, has now acted at weight for age, 49.5 in the big one. I thought her effort was the equal of Blevix from the Cup's point of view.
Is Double Trigger well weighted at 60.5, Lee?
Well, there's probably a lot of reasons why he may not win the Melbourne Cup, but I don't think weight will be one of them.
Fair enough. You think he is? Keith, what did you think was there a standout? I mean, with the weights.
From the weight,
in terms of the quality, I guess.
Look, if Double Trigger comes, Bruce, in his current form, he'll run 2-to-1 favourite on the day with that weight.
And what did you think of the quality of the nominations?
Well, it's interesting that I think the top 10 or 12 are all Northern Hemisphere horses, with the exception of Jeune, who came from there anyway.
How many are they expecting?
Oh, look, I think we'll get 6 or 8 out here.
That'd be terrific.
Yes.
Max, you must be coming down shortly. We can't wait to see you. Dame win next Saturday, I think, in Sydney. Max, you and I will be on our own, I think, next week, because Keith's going to Dubai.
His place.
and Lee, you're back training.
I'm back at work, but I'm available.
That'll be... Will you come in next Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be great. Good on you,
I can't
Lee.
wait to hear the result of Jeune, Mahogany and Baryshnikov clashing in the Craigie next Saturday.
Enough to wet the whistle. Let's take a break, and Kate's back with the latest scores after this.